Hey everyone, today my video is strictly for Canadians. If you are a small business or have an Etsy shop and you are in Canada, this video is for you, just to give you some tips on shipping. If you're from the US or another country, you probably won't get anything from this video, so you might want to go check out maybe another shipping video I have. But if you're Canadian, this one might be helpful for you. So for this video, I'm mainly going to focus on Canada Post and Chit Chats. I have used those two for my entire career with my Etsy store. I've also used UPS and FedEx, but kind of in a bind moments when I need something really fast, because they're a little bit more reliable than Canada Post, but they are definitely more expensive. So I'm going to go over just like the pros and cons to both Canada Post and Chit Chats, and then how I prepare my shipments, because it can be a little bit confusing, I think anyways, with Canada Post. So first, I just want to go over the difference and what the pros and cons are. So obviously Canada Post is the postal service that is the standard in Canada, and that's where your regular mail gets sent through. If you put a stamp on it and you put it in the mailbox, Canada Post is going to send it. And so you can also ship parcels with them. And then Chit Chats is kind of like a third party reseller. So even though you ship within Canada with Chit Chats, you're still shipping with Canada Post because they use Canada Post. They just get like a different price, although I think it's mostly the same. I think it was cheaper a couple years ago when I was using Chit Chats. They were slightly cheaper than Canada Post for Canadian shipments, but you can also ship to US with Canada Post or Chit Chats as well. So I just want to point out that when I first started going to Chit Chats, the biggest difference was it felt more like a DIY approach. I was used to going to Canada Post with my parcel, and the Canada Post worker would enter the information, print the labels, and then send it off for me. But when I started using Chit Chats, you had to do all that yourself. So you'd go to their location, you'd go on a computer, and then you would enter the information, you'd weigh it, measure it, and then use their printer to print the label and then put it in the bin that it should go into. However, now with COVID, the ability to go to their location and use their computers and printers is not available. So you would just have to do all that at home, and then you can drop it off at the drop-off location at their shop. So quickly, some pros and cons. With Canada Post, it is a little bit more convenient because there are way more Canada Post locations. I live downtown Toronto, and basically almost every Shoppers Drug Mart has a Canada Post, but then there's also Canada Post stores that are strictly Canada Post. So it's really easy for me to just walk down the street and drop off packages at a Canada Post. And on the weekends, they're open as well. If you go to like a Shoppers Drug Mart, usually you can drop off packages on a Saturday or a Sunday as well, which is really great. And they also have hours that can go in the evening, so it is definitely more convenient location-wise. With Chit Chats, they don't have a lot of locations. In Toronto, they have one, and it's on Queen's Quay, and it is not open on the weekends. And during the week, it's mostly like business hours. I think it closes at 6 p.m. So it's not really convenient. They're also not open early. From what I remember, pre-COVID, it was like 10 to 6. So you had to get there during business hours and only during the week. Their Mississauga location, however, is open on Sundays, so other cities may have different hours, but there's just not that many locations. And for me, I have to actually drive there. I can't just walk over with some packages and drop them off. They also do pickups for a fee. Canada Post does pickups too. I know with Canada Post, if you purchase like express shipping, then they will pick up for free. So those are options too, but I just always drop off because it just works with my schedule, and I don't have so many packages that I can't ship them out myself. I usually go once a week, and I have just like a couple bags of packages. I don't have like mountains of packages. If I did, then I would definitely do a pickup with either service for sure. One con with Canada Post is that printing their labels is really annoying and tedious, and I will show you how I do that closer to the middle to the end of the video. Whereas with Chit Chats, it's really standard and easy. You can buy one of those Dymo printers that are the thermal label printers, and then it just prints from Chit Chats on the label, and then you can slap it on. Canada Post does not have that to offer. It just prints on like 8.5 by 11 paper, and they just say print it and then tape it on, so it's a little bit different. I think from what I've researched, they used to do that with their other service that they offered, but now with SnapShip, which is the way that a small business can create the shipments and then do them themselves for pickup or drop off, they don't have that printing option with the SnapShip. But I'll show you what I do to make it quicker and easier and cost effective. So one pro with Chit Chats is shipping to the US is cheaper with Chit Chats. However, shipping within Canada is basically the same. Sometimes if I have a mixed order of US and Canadian shipments, I will try and set it up on Chit Chats and Canada Post and then see which one's cheaper. And just from doing that a few times, the Canadian prices are mostly the same, and then the US is usually like half the price, and it comes with tracking. With Canada Post, all Canadian shipments have to have tracking, so you pay for that, which is a little bit more expensive. It's actually cheaper for me to ship to the US most of the time than it is for me to ship within Canada. So yeah, you always have a tracking number with Canada Post if you're shipping Canadian, but if you're shipping international, you never get a tracking by default. You always have to pay extra for that, and in that case it is cheaper with Chit Chats. But the one thing with Chit Chats is that if you have a shipment that goes to the US and somebody doesn't accept it, there isn't an easy way to return to sender. They have some type of issue where it can't be returned back to Canada, so you have to set up your return address, which has to be a US return address. And that happened to me with one of my shipments. There was like a $200 product that I sent out, and the receiver they moved to a different address, so then the shipment got sent to their Niagara Falls US location until I gave them a new US address. So luckily I was able to give them the sender's new address, and then they could send it. I of course had to pay extra for that, but it's just there's no easy way for it to get sent back to Canada if there's like a problem with your order. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. The other con with Canada Post is if you need to go back to your old invoices, their dashboard or their login area, like your profile where you have all of your shipments, it's very limited what information it shows. It shows the tracking number and then the date and the price, and that's it. So you have no idea what tracking number belongs to who. If you click on the tracking number, you just see the tracking if it's been delivered or not, but there's no way to actually go in there and find out like who you sent that to, how much it weighed, what was the item, any of that. Whereas with Chit Chats, their whole profile and website setup is definitely more in depth. So if you go in there, you can click on a item that you sent and it shows you everything. It shows you who you sent it to, like how much it weighed, what the dimensions were, how much it cost, all that information, which is sometimes has come in handy for me. There's sometimes where I needed information from a past shipment and I was just kind of out of luck with Canada Post. So that's something to think of, especially if maybe you're trying to figure out like how much things cost to ship for your store. It's hard to go back in Canada Post and see what that is. So what I'll do first is open a browser with my Etsy orders. So I have my Etsy orders here, and then I'll also open a browser with my Canada Post dashboard. And I click create new shipment. So this is assuming that you already have SnapShip set up. So you can click this drop down to get the full address, and then I will start typing in their name. I put in my packaging. I already know how much this weighs because I send it out quite often. It's really beneficial if your products are mostly the same and you have all the same weights, because you can kind of create like saved items. For instance, I can do this drop down and pick one of these, which is this one, and it already does it for you, so you don't have to do that. However, I just bought a scale from IKEA, and I use that when I need to weigh other items because a lot of mine are custom, so they may be different from each other. So you can see that you have regular and expedited. Expedited is the same price as regular, however, it gets there 1 day sooner. This was only going to Toronto, so it's not going to be that big of a difference. So I always just use expedited because it's the cheapest. I'm just going to compare Chit Chat. So what I would do is go into Etsy and I will copy and then paste, and it fills it all out for you. And then when you're here, you have to say what it is, even if you're not shipping internationally, which you don't have to do in Canada Post. You only have to do that in Canada Post if you're going internationally. So with Chit Chats Canada tracked, it is 2 to 14 business days. It doesn't give you an exact time because right now it's with COVID and these times are estimate. Canada Post gives you an exact date, but it doesn't matter because they have said that they don't stick to that exact date with COVID, so just something to keep in mind. And then you can choose to have insurance or not have insurance. So if you lose the package, then you're out of luck. With Canada Post, you have to get the insurance. It just comes automatically with your package. So you can see that this was $8.61, and for Canada Post it was $9.37, and that's total before taxes. If I go to the checkout, it is $10.59 after taxes. So actually I stand corrected. This was cheaper than with Canada Post. It was a difference of $1.98. So a difference of almost $2, which is quite a lot. So yeah, something to consider. I'm actually going to, for the sake of this video, put in every single shipment that I'm going to send on both platforms so that you can then see the total once it's done. And I'm going to show you how I print them as well. So my total with Canada Post was $82.30. My small business savings is almost $6. And with Chit Chats, it's $62.13. And this is with tracking for every single package, including the US package, with Chit Chats or Canada Post. So I'm going to be saving $20. So in this case, I probably will go drop off at Chit Chats because it is a significant savings. So I want to point out that you can create postage labels straight from Etsy. However, when I try and do this, it first tells me it's in Canadian dollars and then it tells me it's in US dollars and something about the account currency, which if I go into my account currency, you can see that it's in Canadian dollars. So I don't know why it's changing it halfway through. I did create a support ticket and asked Etsy what's going on. I also sent screenshots to show them my shop currency and the problem. They responded telling me my shop currency is in US dollars, which it's not if they looked at my screenshots. And when I responded saying that that just confused me more, they closed the ticket after. I've since created another ticket which didn't get any response, so I don't know how to fix this. But just in case you're curious, I will show you the difference. With the Etsy postage label, the base rate is $12.32. And when I use my small business account from the Canada Post website, it's a little different. It's $12.24. So it's maybe like a 10-cent difference. And they're both using the same expedited parcel, so it's the same time frame. The taxes are after this, so obviously if the dollar amount is slightly more, the taxes would be slightly more. So it is slightly cheaper if you do it from the Canada Post website rather than from the Etsy website. As you can see, it really depends on what's most convenient for you, because if it's hard to get out to a Chit Chats maybe the $20 isn't worth it. But for me, I can just drive there on a weekday during my lunch, and I prefer to do that and save the $20. Sometimes though, the difference is maybe like $5, and even up to $10. I just don't think that it's worth it, because I'd rather just walk across the street and drop it off at Canada Post. So since with Canada Post you cannot print out using a normal label printer like the Dymo with thermal paper, they mention that you can print it out on just regular 8.5 by 11 paper using your at-home printer, and then you just cut that out and then tape it onto your parcel. The envelopes that I purchased from Amazon to use to ship my products, because they're made out of recycled material, the texture or the finish doesn't adhere to labels as well as a regular like yellow envelope or those plastic poly mailers will. So I had to do a little trial and error before I could find a sticky paper that sticks really well. So this is what it says on the back. I don't know if that's the brand, but I will definitely link to the Amazon posting. It's from Amazon Canada. And it basically comes with 2 labels. So there's 8.5 by 11 split in half. You have a label here and a label here, and it just peels off. Problem is when you go to download your labels from Canada Post, it comes in a 8.5 by 11. So on this side you'll have parcel label that will actually get your shipment from A to B, and then the information on the left is just instructions. So it's stuff that you're wasting your printer ink on, wasting your paper on, because you cut it off and throw it out. It tells you the instructions to choose a box designed for shipping, wrap your items so that they are secure in the box, blah 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 blah. Stuff you don't need to print out every single time you print out a label. So what I do is I download the PDF with all of the labels after I finish paying for them, and then I open that in Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, maybe you can do this in a free software that is like a photo editing software. So I import the PDF to Photoshop, and then I create a new document that is 8.5 by 11 landscape, and I basically select the parcel information and then copy it over to the blank document, and then I arrange them so that they sit all the way on the right side and all the way on the left side. So I'll just show you how I do that on my computer so you can see, and I'll try and find a free software version that I can show you that as well. So I'm going to show you with Photoshop first. I create an 8.5 by 11 document in landscape orientation, and before I did this I dragged my PDF to Photoshop and opened all of the singular PDFs within that, and then I just drag one into the new document and drag the parcel portion of it to the far left and far right corner, and then delete any of that instructional information that we don't need. And then when I'm ready, I send these to the printer and print on my label paper. And I'll show you how I cut those out shortly, but now I'm going to show you how I do it in Canva, which is free. You'll want to go to ilovepdf.com because you'll need to transfer your PDF into a JPEG because Canva does not accept PDFs. So just click on the artifact, which actually has multiple PDFs within it, and you want to make sure page to JPEG is what you have selected, and it's going to export all of those images. When you click download, you're going to get a zip file that you will just have to unzip, and within that file you will see all of the pages that were in that PDF. So then you'll want to go to canva.com, click on create new design, and then put in 11 by 8.5 inches. And then when you have your new design open, you're going to want to upload those images that you just converted from PDF. You can do that by clicking upload and then choosing from device. And then from here, you can actually just select all of them at once. I'm just going to bring in 2. And then you'll just want to drag one of those images over to your document, and you'll want to size it so it fills the whole document. You'll want to do that because you want to keep the same size that Canada Post had done it. So then once I pull it over, I crop it so the instructions are gone. And then I pull over my second parcel, do the same thing by making it the full size, and then I crop that one as well and drag it over to the left corner. And again, I just place them in the far left and right corners so I can make the least amount of cuts and also use a smaller label for my packages. And then you just want to download it as an image and then print it. So once I have it printed, you can see they're on the far right and the far left side. And I do this just to make my life easier when I'm cutting, because then I just have to cut the top so that this is trimmed, and then here I just have to cut here and then here. And then these are ready to go. I can just peel them off and then stick them on the parcel. So far, that's been the fastest way that I have been able to print using the Canada Post Snap Ship. I want to be able to print on a sticky label and not printer paper, and I don't want to spend a lot of time cutting it out because that's really annoying. So just making a few cuts with my paper cutter on the sticky label paper seems to work the best. With Chit Chats, you can basically do the same. If you do have a thermal label printer, then you can do it that way. However, I haven't purchased one because I'm still kind of on the fence of whether I use Canada Post or Chit Chats. So for now, I'm just using my home printer and label paper. If both of them used the thermal label printer, then I would for sure buy one. But I would say most of the time I do use Canada Post because the pricing is not that different. So when I do use Chit Chats, I just download the labels and basically do the same thing, and I print them out on this paper using my printer. So I hope that was helpful for anybody who's just starting out. However, if you somehow watch this and you've been shipping for a while and you have suggestions for me, I'd love to hear them, because I'm sure there's tons of stuff that I don't know. I would say I've only actually been doing my own labels and printing my own labels for maybe the past 3 years. But on Etsy, I've been shipping for 8 years, and before doing it myself, I would just go to the post office and have them do it for me. And I even still did that up until a year ago with Canada Post. The only reason I did it on my own was to use Chit Chats because it was cheaper. But now that I'm using Snap Ship, I don't have Canada Post do it for me. I just do it on my own because it just saves me time in the long run. I don't really want to wait in the post line. Sometimes it can be really long. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, just make sure to leave them in the comments below and I'll try my best to answer them. And again, if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear them.